In the fall of 1955, one of the most powerful hurricanes to ever strike Belize was Hurricane Janet. The untold stories of sarteneja that tore through the region, leaving behind a swath of catastrophic destruction that would forever change the lives of those who lived through it. In late September 1955, report began to track a growing storm in the Caribbean Sea. Hurricane Janet quickly intensified, becoming one of the strongest hurricanes on record. Our main focus is on infrastructure, economic, and psychological impact this hurricane caused on Sarteneja.
As we know, this Category 5 hurricane struck Sarteneja with a devastating force. Now we're going to look to some of the things that were affected in Sarteneja by the Hurricane Janet. So one of the main things that were affected was the infrastructure. As we interviewed one of the persons who eyewitnessed this catastrophe, we were able to know that everything in Sardinia was destroyed, including the houses made of thatch, the trees, the farms, even the animals, because they used to grow animals in their farms. And we were also able to know that the only buildings that were left standing were the school where the villagers went to find refuge, the police station, and the clinic, because these buildings were made up of concrete. And so these villagers were suffering after the Hurricane Janet, and they were able to tell us that after this hurricane struck Sardinia, it looked completely like a desert, like a desert. So people had to wait until the government could send help, and after these people lost their houses, the government gave them the help so that they could build new houses made up of rocks. And until now, there is the evidence of these houses made up of rocks that these people could get from the government. And now we have some real words from the person who I witnessed everything that happened throughout this catastrophe.
Sarteneja was left a desert. There was not a single tree, nor a single house. Only 3 houses made out of concrete, which were the school, the police station, and the clinic.
And how did the villagers recover their homes after that hurricane?
The government gave help only with materials so they could build their houses. So all the villagers gathered together to help each other build their houses.
Hurricane Janet has impacted the life of those Sarteneja residents who experienced it. It has also impacted the life of the present generations who are the ones that are able to now share us about the untold stories of this rat and how it affected them. Well, Hurricane Janet severely affected Sarteneja economically. So back in the days, Sarteneja residents used to depend a lot on agriculture. And then when Hurricane Janet came, these residents looked really affected because mainly the farmers, as I said, because they're the ones who crop, right? So then they were the ones that were affected. And because the hurricane brought strong tidal waves and the water was first to be pushed out and then it went inland. So then since it's seawater, it contains a lot of salt. And then after the hurricane, when the water had already dried, it made the soil become infertile, and that's why farmers were not able to plant their crops afterwards. So now we have Mr. Jason with us, who is going to tell us more about it.
Based on the interviews I have done with our elders in our community, I got to know that Sarteneja was severely affected by this hurricane economically, and so what they said was that after Hurricane Janet, as we know, or during Hurricane Janet, the hurricane brought a tidal wave or storm surge of approximately 8 feet of water. So this water entered the inland area and the agricultural lands of our community, and actually destroyed the agricultural grounds that we had. And after the hurricane, after the water receded, most of the salinity of the water stayed on the land, causing the plants and the trees and fruit trees and whatever they were growing at that time to stop producing the way how it was produced before then, or how it was grown. So this affected the salinity of the waters, affected the agricultural lands, and this made it a little bit difficult for the villagers to actually plant after Hurricane Janet. So the water and the land, was actually not suitable for agriculture at this time after Hurricane Janet. So this hurricane actually,
So the soil became fertile.
infertile.
And you were mentioning something about that it had to pass like 7 years.
Well, it was people said my grandparents actually told me that the land was infertile for some years, and during those years they had to actually find another source of income, another way how to produce, to try to make a living out of the ground. So during those years, at that specific time, Belize was littered with hundreds of lobster. Lobster was one of the type of fishes, or not fish, but not even know the name, but was a type of animal that was littering the coast of Belize. And then at first people didn't know the value of this lobster, but years later, when people from Belize City actually discovered that this animal was actually valuable in the United States of America, they decided to open a market for this product, which was the lobster. And then they decided to open a cooperative, and they began to export the lobster. And Sartenejeños in this area, they were already fishing the coast with their boats and so, but they decided to join the other fishermen out there. And that is when Sarteneja actually shifted from farming to fishing. They began to fish the reefs, and now they were having another source of income, which was not farming.
And a better living, because you think that this hurricane made like a positive impact, so that their lives can change, their way of living can change.
Even though it affected the land and their way of how they live, it actually affected Sarteneja positively on the other side, because people found another way to find income, and their lives actually got better after this, because fish is actually was more valued than
agriculture.
So their lives improved after that as well.
Okay. Infrastructure and economy were not the only ways in which these villagers were affected, but also they were affected psychologically. As we interviewed another person who is knowledgeable about this topic, we were able to know the effects that this catastrophe left to the villagers. So, it was known that these people were left with a trauma for the rest of their lives. And they would feel this constant fear every time they would hear that rain or a simple tropical storm is coming to the village, that they would pack up their things and try to find refuge with their relatives. And we may see this situation as a joke, but we really don't know how these people felt and how they lived how they witnessed this catastrophe, how they felt after this hurricane.
Despite Sarteneja was struck immensely by Hurricane Janet, destroying the village completely, affecting their economy, and leaving them with a psychological trauma, it also had a positive impact in one way. Why? Well, because of Hurricane Janet, they were introduced to sea products such as lobster, fish, octopus, which gave villagers the opportunity to venture into a new and better source of income, giving the village the famous name as Capital Fishing of Belize.